Have you ever had a piece of gear that when you needed it and you went to go use it and it just worked and it was like, I am so glad that I had this? I'm going to share a few of those with you today. How's it going? I'm Jared Gillis. Welcome to another All About RVs. Today, I wanted to share with you just a few of the items that we have on hand that aren't your typical RV products that you see every day, but have really come in clutch for us, and very thankful that we had them, and I would absolutely get these again. So it's just going to be a small list, but let's start off the list with one that really pulled our fat out of the fire, and so glad that we had it on the RV when the situation arose, and it's one of these JumpStart devices. So this is the Titan Series Go Low JumpStart device. And this is great because it's really small and it packs underneath the seat in our truck, and it's just always there. So if we have a dead battery or somebody else has a dead battery, we can pull this out and be up and running in no time. I did this one because at the price point, it's one of the highest amperage outputs that you can have. So this started our diesel Cummins truck. It had no problem when we were stuck in a snowstorm in Wyoming and we had a dead battery. We had to stop because of a storm, and we didn't want to be stuck there with a dead battery. So this got us back up and started. This thing is great because it has everything packed into the one case, so you don't have to worry about forgetting anything. For as well as this worked, I thought about getting rid of my jumper cables, but I just can't bring myself to do that. I can't get rid of those, but this did everything that we needed to get up and going. So you can see that this thing is pretty small. It's not huge, it holds a charge for a decent amount of time, and it's easy to charge up when I need to. The great thing is we also use it occasionally, I've mentioned in other videos, that we'll use it to power other USB devices. So you can have the output for that, but then if we use it for that, I always make sure that I charge it up immediately and put it back in the vehicle. It never goes anywhere that the vehicle does not go. If the vehicle's leaving, this is going in it. You never want to have a dead battery, have this thing sitting at home and you're not able to use it. So we prefer to have this rather than waiting for a service to come jumpstart you or trying to flag down somebody else to give you a jump start. If you have this as your first go-to to give it a try, why not be self-sufficient and be ready for when those kind of things come up? Now, on the other side of this storage case, we have the actual clamps for being able to connect the battery and charge it up. And we also have the other charging cables in here. So with all that packed into here at this size and this price point, why not have one of these on hand? That was my thought. And so it's always going to be in the truck. Number 2 on our list today is the twist-on waste valve that I'm able to put at the end of our plumbing for our gray and our black water. I am thankful that I have this on the RV almost every time that we travel, because when we go to empty our tanks, we empty out all the water that we can, and I'm not going to jack up the RV to make sure that the last little bit of plumbing, if there's a little belly in there somewhere, that it gets all that water out. But when we start driving, some of that will slosh over to the end of where that cap would be normally, but since I have more than just a cap, that valve is going to collect anything, any water that goes down there. So whether it's black water or gray water that's sitting in that pipe just a little bit, I don't have to worry about it because I can take that cap off. I know that there's still a valve there. I can make all my connections, open up that valve, and it flushes everything out. So this is fantastic for those reasons. I hate taking off that cap and then you have a little bit of fluid come out. I would rather eliminate that entirely forever. I like this valve enough at the end of the drain hose that when we had the 2 pipes coming out before we combined it into one, I would have put 2 on the RV. I would have put 1 for the main dump tank, and I would have put 1 on the galley too. I just don't like that water spilling out. But because we have everything that converges into one, when we're out there boondocking and I want to connect the galley tank to the bathroom, shower, and sink, not the black tank, those 2 gray tanks, I can connect those and equalize them out. It's a nice trick to be able to give you a little bit more space in one of the tanks if you need it. I think it's great when RV manufacturers put a master valve basically at the end to do what this twist-on valve is doing. But the great thing is this twist-on valve, anybody can put it on because it literally just twists on like you would your sewer connection, your sewer hose, your drain hose. It just twists on the exact same way, and then it has that same fitting on the other side of the valve, and you connect your hose like you would to the pipe normally. So it takes hardly any time at all to put this on, and it just lives on our RV. We don't take it off. If it were to break, I would absolutely buy it again, hands down. We just had a situation where our drain hose ended up disintegrating. We're always on top of that, so if you see any leak or anything like that, we just replace it right away. We don't mess around with it. We want it to be as sanitary as we possibly can. Well, I went to go dump the tanks and it just disintegrated, but with that valve at the end, I was able to shut it immediately, and I didn't have to wait for the rest of that fluid out of the pipe to come falling out. I was able to shut it off immediately and be able to clean everything up that much easier because there was less mess on the ground. So for all these reasons, I would absolutely buy one of these twist-on valves again in a heartbeat. Now this last one that I have is a little bit different, but I'd love to hear from you guys. What is something that you have that is maybe a little less rare from the typical RV list that you might have out there that you really enjoy and you would buy hands down again without even thinking about it? So I'd love to see some of those comments down below and what you guys suggest. But this one's a little bit weird because of the time of year that I'm talking about it. Here it is, May, and I'm talking about a heated hose. So I never wanted to get a heated hose. We had the hose with the heat cable and I'd wrap it in insulation, and at one park it wasn't allowed, so I had to get a heated hose that was made commercially for that purpose. So normally we just use the 0G hose and it works fantastic, and if we're just gonna have one night of freezing, we'll just fill up the tanks and use the pump inside the RV. But when we first bought this hose, we were gonna be there for 3 weeks in freezing temperatures, and we didn't want to have to fill up the tanks all the time. So we use the heated hose, so if I have to spend less time setting up the heated hose than I would having to fill up the tanks repeatedly, then the heated hose is the way I'm going to go. That's kind of the way that I balance it out. So just this last month when we were up near Crater Lake and it was freezing temperatures for over a week, we went with the heated hose so that we didn't have to mess with that whole system of filling up the tanks all the time. The thing about this one too is it's more compact than the DIY solution, so it's going to be easy just to store in the RV as we continue traveling around until the weather gets cold again towards the end of the year. So this one's going to be depending on where you RV. If you're from Florida and you always RV in Florida and you don't leave Florida, then this is something that you would never want to buy. But I think that's going to wrap it up for the few things that we have on hand that are a little bit rare. Usually you don't talk about JumpStart devices as an RV gear essential, but for us it came in clutch when we needed to, and we were able to start the truck, go get new batteries on our own timeline. So absolutely wonderful, very glad that we have it. And so I'm going to put links down in the description to everything that we talked about today, from that JumpStart device that started our diesel truck to the heated hose and that twist-on valve connector. So like I said, that's going to do it for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos about RVing, hit that subscribe button. And if we don't see you on the road, hopefully we will see you next video.